Section 10. Emotions, Feelings, and Thoughts. Introduction. In this lecture, we will make the disparities among the triad and separate the wrong usage so as to enable you as a professional grasp the difference. Objectives. At the end of this lecture, students should be able 1. To explain human feelings. 2. To know the difference among the three. What are emotions? Emotions are biologically driven, cross-cultural responses to environmental stimuli. Emotions are human beings' warning systems as to what is really going on around them. Emotions are our most reliable indicators of how things are going in our lives. They are also like an internal gyroscope. Emotions help keep us on the right track by making sure that we are led by more than cognition. Emotions are generated in the brain, and the brain drives the body. Perception of emotions. A milestone in the psychology of feeling was the American psychologist William James' theory of emotion, which held that psychological changes precede emotion. Subsequent evidence indicates that the theory is essentially correct in that there is an internal sensory basis for feeling. More recent work has demonstrated an interaction between psychological arousal and cognition in determining emotional expression. If emotion is in part a perception initiated by bodily responses, it is obviously desirable to know what these responses are. The best single answer to this question came from the work of the American physiologist W.B. Cannon, who in a long series of experiments was able to show that the major emotions involve excitation of the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system, and that such excitation, because of the diffuse conduction, gives rise to a widespread set of specific responses of smooth muscles and glands, increase in heart rate, increase in blood pressure, inhibition of peristaltic movements, increased perspiration, and many others. Compare emotion. Feeling. In psychology, the perception of events within the body closely related to emotion. The term feeling is a verbal noun denoting the action of the verb to feel, which derives etymologically from the Middle English verb feeling, to perceive by touch, by palpation. It soon came to mean, more generally, to perceive through those senses that are not referred to any special organ, as the known special organs of sense were the ones mediating the perception of the external world. The verb to feel came also to mean the perception of events within the body. Psychologists disagree on the use of the term feeling. The preceding definition accords with that of the American psychologist R.S. Woodworth, who defines the problem of feeling and emotion as that of the individual's internal state. Many psychologists, however, still follow the German philosopher Immanuel Kant in equating feeling to state of pleasantness and unpleasantness, known in psychology as affect. Because of the essentially internal subjective nature of feeling, its study has been concerned with two distinct problems, namely how an event is perceived and what the perceived event is. Study of internal sensitivity. At the turn of the 20th century, German psychologists Wilhelm Wundt and Edward Titchener suggested that the elementary psychological states that make up consciousness, such as sensations, images, and feelings, can be observed and analyzed by experimentation. In 1846, the German physiologist E.H. Weber distinguished only two senses in addition to sight, hearing, taste, and smell, whereas the American neurologist C.J. Herrick in 1931 distinguished 23 classes of receptors involved in such additional senses. Much information has been gained on the perception of relatively simple localized stimulation within the body. It is known, for instance, that moderate increases in temperatures of the skin are perceived as warmth, moderate decreases as cold, checkerboard combinations, moderate increases and decreases as heat, and intense increases as pain. Comparable information has not been gained, however, on the perception of such presumably widespread and heterogeneous internal state as the emotions. What is the difference between emotions and feelings? In psychology, feelings refers to consciousness, awareness, or sensation experienced by an individual isolated from anything thought or perceived. Emotions are one type of feelings. Emotions are intense feelings which are directed toward someone or something. Experts identify 6 universal emotions. These are anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, and surprise. We can contrast emotions with moods, which are feelings that tend to be less intense and are not related to any contextual stimulants. Emotions are cross-cultural, the same all over the world. Feelings are a subset of all of our mind-body states: disappointment, anger, hope, etc. There are hundreds of them. Feelings are a learned response in the culture in which you grow up, the family, the peers, the community, etc. Emotions are the raw material. They come with the DNA package. Feelings are the interpretation of the raw data given by the brain and reinforced by the individual's culture. Emotion is preparing and anticipating action. Feelings are the internal expression of the emotion and can be differentiated from body sensations and states. Feeling cold or feeling depressed, the emotion behind the feeling of depression, sadness, or anger. Feelings are certain, natural, built-in sensations that we all have and which are completely natural and unavoidable to experience. Some of these feelings are pleasant, some are unpleasant. Some of the pleasant ones are happiness, joy, love, and satisfaction. Some of the unpleasant feelings are loneliness and rejection. The common denominator of feelings is that they are a direct result of the current situation. If you gain attention and approval from someone, you will feel pleasure, joy, and happiness. If you are alone for a while, you will start to feel loneliness. You don't have to wallow in it, however. If someone tells you they do not like you, you feel rejected and disapproved of. The situation exists, and we feel a sensation that is connected with it. Emotions, on the other hand, are a secondary or indirect response to our environment based on how our inner thought processes respond to it. A combination of thoughts that are in conflict with each other or with reality produces a mental energy that is undirected or misdirected. This mental energy cannot easily be used and therefore produces a generally unpleasant sensation we call emotion. Typical emotions are fear, anger, anxiety, and guilt. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions. This section basically outlined that thought can cause feelings and real things to happen. And these 3 things, thought, action, and feeling, can occur in any order. Feelings can cause you to jump or some other action, and so can thoughts. Thoughts can cause feelings which could cause you to do an action. This means that any feeling, a physical one, a certain emotion, anything, could result in any thought which could cause you to do anything. For frogs, this process seems simple. If it has feelings, they are easy to label, such as fear of a person coming near them. For a human, these feelings might be much more complex, involving many more unconscious thoughts and worries or whatnot. A frog isn't going to be worried if its intelligence is insulted or any number of other possible unconscious thoughts that a person might have. You could still say the frog has thoughts, though, since it reaches the conclusion at some point to jump away and it moves in very complicated patterns. Those patterns of movement for a frog, however, are easy to understand, and the same pattern occurs each time you see the frog pretty much. Humans can adapt their behavior with thoughts and make their behavior and thinking much more complex. So, what is the difference between someone thinking something and someone feeling something? You can feel bad, or you could think negative things about yourself that make you feel bad. When someone thinks, they are aware of what they are doing and what they are thinking about. When someone feels an emotion, they might not be aware of it or know how it was generated. What is an unconscious thought then? If thoughts are something you know you are thinking and are paying attention to, then how could you not be aware of them? A thought is something you are thinking, you know you are thinking it. You don't always, or maybe even never, know if you are experiencing an emotion. On the other hand, emotion is unconscious thought because emotion is just you feeling something about something, so you could express it as a thought. I feel bad because they treated me like I was stupid could be the unconscious thought, and the emotion would be I feel bad because they treated me like I was stupid. They're exactly the same. If you are aware of what an emotion is, then it is a thought because you think about what the emotion is. It is also an emotion because you are feeling it, but when you realize what caused the emotion or think about the emotion in your head, it is a thought because you are thinking about it. It is still an emotion, obviously, though. This is the end of section 10. Thanks for listening.